Yo, what is going on, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. Today, we're going to be going through all the Guardians, and we're going to be talking about buff, nerf, or rework them. Even if they're like pretty balanced, just kind of like choose the way that you'd rather go if you think they're a little bit stronger, nerf them, whatever. And I'll give a little buff or nerf or rework suggestions for what I think could balance them a little bit more. So yeah, random order. I think it's mostly just earlier season gods, then you get later season gods farther down the list you go. Starting with the Amir, definitely nerf. I think his wall being 6 seconds early game, and it really is early game because you usually hit like a level 9, 10 around like minute 9, 10. So you're getting like a 6-second wall at like 9, 10 minutes into the game, which is really obnoxious. And then earlier into the game, it's like 4 seconds and it's like 5 minutes into the game, and it's really obnoxious. I think that they should rework it into, or not rework it, but nerf it for 3 seconds early game. At level 1, and then at level 5 in the ability 5 seconds. So it's a little bit stronger early game, a little bit weaker late game, but it gives you kind of more of an option of where do you want to put your abilities into. You can put your abilities to the wall, but it only goes up by ½ second, or you could put it into another ability for extra damage or extra CC in his freeze. Because right now his wall is just by far the best ability to level. Next up, Sobek. Probably a buff with where he is now. I think his base scaling could probably just use a little bit of buffs across the board. Looking at it, maybe not across the board, but I think Sickening Strike being 30% is super low. I think Tail Whip being 40% is also super low. So maybe just buff those up a little bit to 50 and 40 or 50 and 50 even. Bacchus, with his recent buffs, I think he's in a pretty balanced spot. I think I would rather see him buffed than nerfed because I think he's just maybe creeping into that balanced spot. I think maybe just giving him a little bit more base damage. With 9.5 durability patch, he's kind of just not threatening anyone anymore. So I think a buff to his base damage, so not his scaling, or maybe he's scaling a little bit too, but his base damage I think could use a little bit of love. Ares, with the recent buff to his chains and the buff to his ultimate cooldown, I think he's finally in a strong spot. I don't think I'd want to buff him again. If I had to choose between buff or nerfing him, I think you nerf him, and you probably just nerf how much damage his 3 does to the minions, because he is very, very hard to deal with when he's pushing the minion wave back, and he's also just shredding the wave too because it's proccing on the minions. Maybe nerf it from like whatever it is right now for the minion wave damage and then cut it in half or something like that. Next up, Athena. Athena is another one that she's in a really strong spot after her buff. When she gets that 35% mitigation in her ult, she actually is very hard to kill. Even then with that, I think I would rather buff her than nerf her because I don't think she's at a spot where she is that strong. Probably buff something with her 3 or her 1. I think her 2 is balanced or maybe a bit stronger. Now I think her ult is strong. Probably put a little bit more maybe utility onto her 3, maybe a prot shred or something if you get hit by the first one and the second one takes a little bit extra damage. Something like that. Or make her 1 charge up a little bit quicker would be maybe kind of cool. Geb, I never want to buff this character, but he is so bad right now that, I mean, I guess we can buff him. Could maybe buff his, I don't even know. Maybe put his passive. I don't know. Maybe give him another part to his passive or something. He is such a weird character because he can't touch his 3. His 2 is already really strong. His ult's already really strong. His 1 just got a big buff recently. So like the only thing you can really touch is his passive. Maybe give him like HP 5 for every level he gets, just extra HP 5. Or when he gets crit, he gets like a little HP 5 burst or something. I don't know. Something with his passive, because I think his passive just being crit damage is strong. Like, it's good when you're playing against crit characters, but you're not always playing against crit characters. Probably one of our only reworks. Maybe we have another one. Kumba, just rework him. Honestly, any of his abilities, all of his abilities, I don't care. Rework him completely. Every ability, all abilities. None of his abilities are good. All abilities should be gone. Rework him. Cab, I think we have to nerf Cab. No way we're buffing him. It should probably be the ult cooldown. It's 75 seconds right now. Maybe make it 90 and then scale down to 70 or something like that. So a little buff late game and a nerf early game. Could also go for his base damage maybe a little bit. They already hit his 3. I like either base damage or his ult. Next up, Sylvanas. Make his pull like 5 units farther or like 10 units farther or something like that. His ult or his pull is just like still a worse version of Maui because Maui can move as he throws it, even though he has to charge it up. Sylvanas basically has to charge it up because he has to walk at you first anyway, and it's so slow coming out. So make it just a little bit longer. Terra, probably gonna have to be a nerf. No way we're buffing Terra with how she feels right now. Maybe the slow when she's autoing you gets nerfed a little bit because it feels really bad around level 6 or 7 where she's just auto chaining you and you just can't move ever. Next up, Fafnir. I think it would be cool to buff his 2's heal. I think it would be cool to do that. He is probably... No, he's definitely weaker than these characters. Yeah, buff his 2's heal so he can maybe see some viability in solo lane. I think that'd be pretty cool. Xing Chen, because he just got buffed and I think he's already pretty decent, I think I'd nerf or maybe rebalance how his 1 reduces damage. because I think it's 30% early game and 50% late or something like that, and it lasts a lot shorter early game. I think just kind of make it so it's an ability you don't have to max. I think right now you kind of have to max that ability, so making it a little bit worse I think balances it out. Khepri 100% nerf him. Nerf his passive 100%. The passive shield 100%. Ganesh, probably buff him. Buff his passive. Something with his passive. He's got such a bad passive.
It's false.
Probably make it so, maybe like a burst of movement speed when he gets an assist, or maybe a burst to his teammates' movement speed around him to whoever gets the kill. Like if a teammate gets a kill gifted, they get a burst of movement speed. Something like that I think would be kind of cool. RDO, nerf her again. I don't even care that she's gotten nerfed so much recently. Nerf her again. Nerf her again. Anything. Healing on her 1, damage on her 1 in bear form, the cooldown on her 3, protections in her 2, whatever it is. Any of them. Nerf them all. Serb. I don't know where Serb stands, like where you'd buff him. His passive's already OP. His 1 is very strong right now. I think you'd probably buff the prot shred on his 2. Give him some viability and support again, because even right now, he's probably just still a better solo laner. He's been a better solo laner for a long time. Also, nerf Cthulhu instantly. I don't have to think about it. Nerf it. Anything. It's same thing as RDO. Nerf anything. Nerf his ult. Nerf his base damage in his ult. Nerf his max health in his ult. Nerf his 1's base damage. Nerf his 2's base damage, his 3's cooldown, anything. I don't care. This character is so annoying. Same with Emoja. Anything. Whatever you... Actually, reworker. Somehow, this character cannot be as OP as she is for as long as she's been OP. Make her ult only 1 wall. Make it so enemies can auto through her wall. Make it so allies can't auto through her wall. Anything to rework this character. Like her 2, her 1, anything about it, I don't care. Reworker. Yorm. Probably buff him. I would say make it so you can use his breath for items, and then just make it so he can't buy Death Toll or something like that. Because not being able to proc Axe or something with your breath is so feels bad. Atlas. Probably is going to have to be a nerf onto him. Even though I think he's pretty balanced right now, and I think he's fun. I think he's better to be nerfed than buffed. And I'd probably nerf him by hitting his ult. Either the prot shred or the power reduction. Either of those two would be fine. Because I think they are very, very strong. Kuzenbo. Nerf him. I like how Kuzenbo plays. The only thing I don't like about Kuzenbo is how little counterplay there is to his 2 and kind of like how often it's up. Either the cooldown on his 2 or the damage returned back to the enemy. And then Maui, he's new to the game. We'll buff him because he's cool. I would say you could nerf him because you could nerf his 2, but I think buffing his ult maybe, so it scales down, I think would be pretty cool. But yeah, that's what it looks like. It's actually pretty balanced between buffs and nerfs. A lot of the characters are like weaker, or half the characters are weaker, half are stronger. 2 are exact opposite sides of OP. Kumba's like the worst god in the game, and Yamoja's been the best character in the game for the past 35 years. Kind of cool how that happens. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. A little Guardian buff, rework, nerf, tier list thing. I don't know how to exactly classify it. But if you guys did enjoy it and you want to see it for the other classes, let me know. Make sure you guys are subbed to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, agree or disagree with most of these. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you guys again next time. Peace.